Hi everyone, today we're going to be working on our firewall for the third attempt. So I'm sitting in the office today. I'm going for the dramatic Netflix type light and dark scenario. It's working out pretty well. So anyways, as you know, we've been going on the firewall here and I've had all these attempts and failures. Well, we're going to finally, do attempt 3. Now, after attempt 2, I actually met up with my buddy Greg and talked to him for a good 45 minutes about it. I brought my panels down to his shop. And while I was there, one of his painting mentors came by and we all kind of got together and really started talking about it pretty deeply and getting opinions from both of them on what I was doing. And so what's really interesting is when you're on your own doing something, it's all about context. And for me, I'm a huge context person. You could tell me something and that's fine, but if I don't have 3 different levels of context to it, it's not going to make sense to me. Not because I don't know what's going on, it's because my analysis depth is so deep that I could actually trick myself out of something. For me, it's never as simple as just this generic statement. It has to be, well, what if this? What if that? What if that? So if you put that together, what actually happened is I thought I was having modeling issues. So I would have what I thought was supposed to be the spray, and then I'd have a patch that was dark, and I'd be like, whoa, that's way too much paint. That's not correct. I need to back off the paint. Well, what it was in reality was it was actually too little paint. So I was dry shooting it. And then when I saw the patch, that's actually what it was supposed to be. And so you could see how that perspective could flip 180 degrees, not knowing where I'm standing. Now, if Greg was with me or someone that painted all the time was with me, they'd be able to go, hey man, you're dry shooting it. You need to change this and put more fluid on. Well, what I did is sit there and go, oh, I'm having modeling issues. I'm shooting too much fluid. I needed to get it all even like the rest of the panel. And so it just really caused me to go in the wrong direction as I was doing this. And of course, not to say you don't have a pot life of maybe an hour or two, but when the time's ticking, it's like, okay, I got to run in, take all this crap off, run in, go on the internet, verify something, run back out there, go look at my specs. It's just a little crazy. And so all the issues that I was seeing, like all those indents and dry spots and pits and stuff like that, lack of sanding, and maybe it would have been fine after I shot a nice thick color coat, 2 or 3 color coats. But I stopped as soon as I, revealed all the problems by spraying the first coat. So there's a few things that are going on. One is I shot it too dry, so I need to have more fluid. And at the end of the day, what you're supposed to be doing is have the fluid pretty much almost all the way open, except for like 1/8 of a turn on your gun. And then you want your fan pretty much all the way open when you're shooting panels like this and not small parts, which goes along with all the other parts that I've sprayed on the car that I didn't have any issues with. When you bring the fan down, it's adding more paint because it's the same amount of paint in a smaller area. So it's twice as much paint going on that area. So now you can kind of see like the pattern of all these issues. Like, I never had problems with this. Well, this is why. And so now it's all starting to make sense. And then when you go to spray your clear coat, you want to put a little bit more pressure in the gun. You kind of want that 1.3 instead of a 1.4 nozzle to get that thing to just really spray out and ghost out on everything. And, one of the key words that kept coming up was dipped. You want it to look dipped. You want it to look like you just pulled it out of a vat of something and it's just like honey hanging off of this thing. And so I'm going to take that all to heart and take all this information and verify my gun settings and the pressure settings specifically for my brand of gun and give it one more shot. Before I do that, Greg also gave me a sanding block or whatever, and some 800 sandpaper. So I'm going to sand down the color coat that I have on there and keep going until I get rid of all those pits. And I'm also going to be wet sanding So I should be wet sanding instead of dry sanding. And then we're going to try another color. We're going to try our clear and kind of see what happens. So let's hop to it. So I'm sanding with 800 grit wet sanding, and I didn't know if I was going to go through the color and all the way to the primer, but that's actually what's happening, and I have no issues with that. So now that I'm down to the primer, I'm just going to keep going and try to get rid of all those divots and really get this thing as smooth as possible for this shoe. So now I'm going to get ready to spray, and again, all my gun adjustments are a little bit more wide open, and my pressure settings are, actually my pressure settings were good originally, but now there's a little bit more authority behind what I'm doing and some nuances between some of the pressure settings I'm going to do. And I'm also opening up to a 1.5. I actually don't have a 1.4, I have a 1.3 and a 1.5 needle that came with this kit. So I'm actually going to spray my color with a 1.5 to get more product on the panel, and then go to clear coat and spray with a 1.3. So we got a major issue that just popped up. So I have I don't know what you call it, a dryer attached to my gun. So any liquid or anything that's coming through is being pulled out at the last second. And in the middle of shooting my second clear coat, it sprung a leak and it just shot a bunch of crap and trash into my clear coat. So, as you could imagine, I am besides myself about this. I really can't believe it. This is my third time going through this, and everything was going flawlessly until I had this malfunction, and now I got crap and everything. And I know I should probably stop and not do my third coat, but I have so much stuff bolted to the firewall, I'm sure it's not going to be an issue. And if I shoot the third coat fast enough, it might actually float everything to the top, and then I just sand it off. So I don't care at this point. I'm going to shoot it. Worst case, I have to sand it all off anyways. It's totally a little bit disheartening that I got trash throughout all my clear coat. It just is what it is, and I don't even have words to say about it. It just is what it is. And the one thing I will say is, doing this car, I have learned to just kind of go, this is par for the course, and not get super pissed off, and it just is what it is. The other thing I will say is, so I was talking about spraying in the garage and how it's just a little dust on the floor and all that stuff. Pretty much true, but as you could see, when I go to shoot that clear coat, it just fogs everywhere. And so, you're going to have a lot more dust when it comes to clear coat than it is doing the actual color. And it's just so apparent in the video, it's unbelievable. And I did, when I was in the middle of spraying, you probably saw me jump to the side and take a piece of wood and just double check the thickness I was spraying. And I was pretty close to the floor, even though I was on the tarp. And I noticed that area of the concrete was tacky because that overspray was so close to the floor that it was tacky. But in general, it's not too bad. So I'm going to let this cure. And since, a good 3-4 days, and then we're going to try to sand this out, and it's either going to be crap, start over, or it's going to be good and keep going to buff and cutting. And we're just going to have to see. So I appreciate everything. Please hit the like and subscribe. Have a great day.